Welcome to the Note Nuggets podcast, where you can learn how to become the bank, build wealth, and accumulate streams of income perfect for your savings or IRAs. You'll hear from industry experts, seasoned veterans, and everyday investors. Our goal is to teach you how to invest in notes, one nugget of knowledge at a time. Here's your host, Kevin Galang.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Note Nuggets podcast, where you will learn how to turn others' debt into your income that's perfect for your IRA or savings account. In the world of real estate investing, you're going to hear a lot about different types of retirement accounts that you can use to invest in real estate. Some of the account types you'll hear about are solo 401ks, checkbook 401ks, EQRPs, checkbook IRAs, and even self-directed IRAs. So today we're going to take a deeper dive into self-directed IRAs and learn from a subject matter expert. And as a reminder, for those of you who might not be familiar with a self-directed IRA, it is a retirement account that empowers you with the choice of growing your wealth through what the IRS calls alternative investments. Some examples of these alternative investments are real estate, private companies, and of course, our favorite, promissory notes. If you want to check out how an expert explains what a self-directed IRA is, check out one of my earlier episodes about it at notenuggets.com/SDIRA-definition. Our guest today breaks down what most people get wrong when it comes to investing with their self-directed IRAs. But before we dive into the Note Nugget, let's learn about our guest. Jason DeBono has 15 years of experience in the self-directed IRA industry. He is currently the corporate vice president at NewView Trust Company, a self-directed custodian with over $1.4 billion under custody. This is where he oversees the day-to-day activities of NewView Trust. He is also a subject matter expert in tax-advantaged investing through retirement accounts. All right, fantastic. So let's dive right in. When it comes to self-directed IRA investing, what do people get wrong the most when it comes to using their IRA to invest?
Well, I think there's two answers to that question. I think the first thing that people get wrong is they think the investment side is the only important part of an IRA. We challenge people to really consider the vehicle as its own decision process. So I think the first thing people get wrong is they think IRAs are one size fits all. And they don't understand the real value of tax advantage growth. They don't understand that a Roth IRA, if they're willing to pay the tax up front, lets them grow all of their earnings tax-free. So I think first mistake is they step over the fact that the IRA is its own decision and should really be considered because there's a ton of different plans out there. So that's one. The second part that they get wrong the most is not understanding what their available choices are. We meet investors every day, that come to us and say, gosh, I wish I knew about this 10 years ago. In fact, it kind of a funny sidebar, what caused me to take this job 15 years ago as an intern was my dad, when I called him and said, I'm interviewing with this company, what the heck do they do? I don't know anything about real estate and retirement accounts, but you do. My dad said, you can't do this. My broker told me it was not allowed. And so, when I kind of understood how it worked and shared it with him, he's like, man, I'd have been doing this a long time ago if I knew. So I think the two mistakes are one, not taking enough value in educating yourself about the different IRA types and how they work and the true tax benefits. And then mistake number two is not understanding what the full spectrum of choice looks like. It's not just stocks and bonds. It's real estate, promissory notes, obviously, something near and dear to you, notes and mortgages. And there's just a world of investing out there that exists, and you won't know it exists unless you go seek and find it.
That is awesome. So first, identifying what your choices are, and then bearing in mind that this is a tax vehicle where you can take advantage of, I don't want to say take advantage of the tax code, but being Roth, you can grow that baby into however large you want. And if it's already not tax deferred, but if it's a Roth, you can basically take all that money back in.
Yeah, it's 100% tax-free. I'll give you some numbers because so many people kind of ignore IRAs, so they just put a little bit of money in them. They don't put as much as they should, but very simple numbers. If you take $1 and double it for 20 years, so $1 becomes $2, $2 becomes $4 over the course of 20 years. If you do that in a taxable environment, meaning you pay tax at the end of each year, like we do with our personal money, you'll end up with about a little over 75 grand, right? Not bad. Turned $1 into 75 grand.
Right.
If you did it in an IRA, whether it be tax deferred or tax free, like a Roth, either way, at the end of it, you'd have just over $1 million. So the difference of growth, same investor, same investment, same amount of time. But because one was done in a tax advantage vehicle, you have $1 million. The one that was done in a taxable vehicle, you only have 75 grand. So the numbers just paint the picture that says IRAs are powerful and the tax incentives behind them are incredible. And to your point on the Roth, if you'd have paid tax on that buck right up front, at the end of 20 years, that $1 million would be 100% tax-free.
And that's why I have a self-directed Roth IRA also. Wouldn't it be nice to grow your self-directed IRA to $1 million plus and have it all be tax-free? Well, that's the power of a self-directed IRA. But make sure you don't make that initial mistake that Jason just talked about. If you want to learn more from my conversation with Jason, all you have to do is sign up with your email by going to the show notes at notenuggets.com/SDIRA-mistake.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Note Nuggets podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to get access to additional weekly value nuggets and get notified with episode updates. To subscribe, all you have to do is head over to subscribe.notenuggets.com. If you have any questions about this episode or note investing, book a time on Kevin's calendar at contact.notenuggets.com. We'll see you next week with another Note Nugget to add to your tool belt.